Hey! Welcome to another time-sticking YouTube video. My name's Jake, and today we're going to be discussing how the Swiss became so dominant in the watchmaking industry. So, stick with us through our intro, and we're going to be having a look at that topic with you today. Watchmaking itself and its history is heavy laden with technological innovations, social upheavals, and a variety of other factors that have shifted the perceived excellence in watchmaking. Nowadays, stamping Swiss on the dial of a watch denotes a level of quality that surpasses all others. This wasn't always so. It took the rise of wristwatches, the decline of the British Empire, and the advent of mass commercial marketing to achieve this feat. History, it seems, can be written by the victors, even in the world of horology. But just how have the Swiss come to dominate the psychology of fine timekeeping above all others? It came from supportive infrastructure within the competitive market of watchmaking as timekeeping moved into the 20th century. Now, before jumping the gun into the 20th century, we're going to start at the beginnings of the Swiss watchmaking industry. Indeed, the Swiss started out a little late compared to other European nations in terms of building timepieces. The first clocks appeared in Europe as early as the 14th century. Fast forward from there, and watchmaking starts to take root in Europe by the 15th century, mostly in Germany. However, Switzerland would not see much of horological crafting until the 16th century, 200 years after the first mechanical clocks were hitting the scene. French Huguenot refugees in the 1550s settled in Geneva, Switzerland. Many of these refugees had skills in designing jewelry and finery. Not long after arriving, Calvinist policy kept Swiss citizens from wearing and manufacturing jewelry. Fearing for the death of their trade, French and Swiss jewelers living in Switzerland adopted watchmaking to earn a living. It was Protestant reformer John Calvin that created a market for Swiss watchmaking, and Geneva's reputation for watchmaking would grow over the following centuries. This is where Swiss watchmaking started taking root, but it wasn't until the 19th century when international markets started to open up for the Swiss and they started to compete with England. Switzerland during the 19th century was creating knockoff versions of English timepieces and selling them at a higher volume and at a lower price. Where England was making around 200,000 watches a year, circa 1850, the Swiss were pumping out 2 million. Getting out the volume was a solid economy for Swiss watchmakers, but through the latter half of the 19th century, American manufacturers began mass production of their timepieces. This cut 75% of Swiss exports to the States and crippled a lot of established names in Swiss timekeeping. Some watchmakers like Blancpain, among others, however, adapted to the changing times. This moves Swiss watchmaking into the 20th century. After the First World War, wristwatches began hitting the scene. A particular wristwatch of note from Switzerland was the Oyster by Rolex. Premiering between World War I and World War II in 1926, the Rolex Oyster boasted waterproof quality, keeping it ahead of the times in terms of performance and design. Other watchmakers and emerging brands like Omega went all in on this new trend of wristwatches with loads of success. With the Brits being worn further and further down by global conflict, and American mass production focusing on affordability and volume over genuine quality, the Swiss were able to get a leg up in terms of standout pieces. Reinforcing this prowess was the establishment of the Société Suisse pour l'Industrie Horlogère, the SSIH for short, in 1930. Many of Switzerland's largest maisons or houses teamed up in terms of sharing innovations and new technological developments under this umbrella. Without stepping on one another's toes too much, the SSIH set up an intellectual and economic infrastructure that would harbor the greatest innovations in Swiss watchmaking and get those ideas out to the world. Now known as Swatch, the SSIH still exists today and helped many of the heavy hitters like TAG, Omega, Rolex, and others weather the introduction of quartz and electronic watches in the 1960s and 70s. As one can see, for 5 centuries now, Swiss watchmaking has been pretty formidable, if not taking a slow amount of time to become considered the best. Surviving war, hits on exports during the 19th century, and the emergence of Japanese quartz, Swiss watchmaking will likely continue its dynasty through the next century. Even with the emergence of smartwatch tech, Swiss brands carry a legacy of cooperation and historical significance that reinforces their timepieces against rising tides. Although some brands are simply brands, missing much of their original panache, the staples of Swiss timekeeping stand proud for a reason. Without many of them, we would not have the timing and water-resistant standards of modern pieces. In a way, almost every modern watch could be seen as at least a little Swiss. Their influence on the horological family tree will be felt as long as watches continue to tick on our wrists. So whether the watch is purely Swiss or Swiss adjacent, whether it's a swatch or something a little bit finer, it's definitely worth having one in the collection. So, do you have a Swiss watch in yours? Let us know in the comments below. We always like to hear what people are wearing. Hello, and thanks for watching our YouTube video today. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like, and you can find similar videos right here. For more new and interesting content from time sticking on our channel, please subscribe at the link here. And for more information about wristwatch repair and watch maintenance generally, you can find us at timesticking.com. Thanks so much and have a great day.